Tonight, persistent concerns about the right of farm workers and dwellers to cast their votes on election day.
The farm owners have given us access to the farms. We have a formal relationship that is facilitated by the protocol on access to farms.
And another look at some of the antics politicians get up to attract voters.
Well, good evening and welcome to yet another special pre-election show. It's going to be a bumpy one, as you saw there. Politicians dancing.
Yeah, that's always fun to watch. A very good evening. My name is Leanne Manos. Welcome to the show. Now, to our viewers out there, thank you so much for those SMSs. Just keep them coming. 33726. That's the SMS line. Remember, begin your message with the word elect, followed by the rest of your comment. This SMS is going to cost you R1.50 though.
And you can also follow this very broadcast on SABC2.com. That's our website. And as usual, we begin this show with a wrap of today's latest election news as compiled for us by Richard Ingram.
Political parties have stepped up their campaigns in the last few days before Wednesday's local government elections. In Soshanguve, north of Pretoria, DA leader Helen Zille promised voters a change in living conditions by a DA-led municipality. Ms. Zille said only 66% of Tshwane residents had access to basic services, compared to over 90% in the DA-run Cape Town.
You have to be in government to fix the mess that government left. And we can only be in government if we win the election. And we can only win the election if enough people vote for us.
In Polokwane and Limpopo, the ANC's treasurer, Matthews Poza, called for white economic empowerment. He was addressing the province's business community, religious leaders and heads of the education fraternity.
We have people of all races participating in the economy and in growing it and creating jobs. Because not only is it the duty of white to create jobs, but also blacks must create jobs.
At Vryburg in Northwest, the Congress of the People, or COPE, President Monsieur Lekota blamed the ruling ANC for its failure to uproot allegedly corrupt councillors throughout the country. After seeing raw sewage flowing in the street, Mr. Lekota criticized the current appointment system of unqualified people.
This practice of the ruling party of suspending people that are caught with corruption and keeping them there for 5 years is one of the major causes of loss to the communities. People don't have to wait for 5 years to get rid of a thief or a corrupt element.
In Bloemfontein, both the ANC and the Freedom Front Plus continued their election campaigns in the City of Roses. The ANC says it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to service delivery, as most Free State municipalities have made major strides in this regard.
A leadership that understands what needs to be done. A leadership that can be on the ground to supervise, to monitor, the work that is being done by contractors.
However, the Freedom Front Plus strongly criticized poor service delivery by the ruling party. Party leader Peter Mulder said voters should only pay for services rendered and to make use of consumer courts when they experience a lack of service delivery.
In most municipalities you don't get it, and there's more than enough examples. I said we used to drive on the left-hand side of the road, we're now driving what's left of the road. And therefore we use the slogan, no taxes, no services, no taxes.
And at Kroonstad, the ACDP leader, Kenneth Meshwe, promised to build the Matang family from Marabastad near the town a new house to replace the one that's permanently underwater. On his door-to-door campaign, the Reverend Meshwe said he was appalled by the poor living conditions with sewage water running in the streets.
And in the Northwest Province, farming community voter registration has declined slightly. 108 fewer voters have registered as compared to the year 2006. And although this might not sound such a huge margin, the INC is concerned that voter registration in farming communities continues to decline. Silo Tatai reports.
For a number of years, farming communities in the Northwest have been a battleground for workers and their employers. This was primarily caused by alleged acts of intimidation by farm owners who in several cases denied their workers a right to exercise their democratic right to vote. The Trade Union Confederation, COSATU, has been advocating farm workers' rights for a number of years. COSATU says acts of racism, infringement of workers' rights in exercising their prerogative as protected by the Constitution remain a daunting issue in farming communities. The union has urged the IEC to be vigilant regarding these issues.
Any farmer who's refusing the workers to exercise their rights during election day on the 18th of May, I think is a criminal offense. Therefore, IEC must take that responsibility to make sure that those workers, they also allowed to be exercise their own rights.
Agri Northwest says a foundation with all stakeholders comprising the IEC, the provincial government, and the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development has been formed to avert hiccups that might hinder the election processes in farming communities.
We also are part of the Provincial Priority Committee on Elections, where we are engaging with the South African Police Service to make sure that we support that process as well. And we are part of the Rapid Response Unit formed by the MEC for Agriculture, Mr. Tsweni, where we've dedicated ourselves to making sure that if there are any problems anywhere, that the role players, either the IEC or the MEC himself, can contact Agri Northwest, and where we can, we will try to resolve whatever problems there are.
Meanwhile, the IEC in the Northwest says that the level of cooperation it currently enjoys with the Farmers Union means that it expects things to run smoothly on election day. But proper and tangible arrangements have been made to deal with any problems that might occur.
13 of our voting stations are on farms. The farm owners have given us access to the farms. We have a formal relationship that is facilitated by the protocol on access to farms, because obviously farmers might want to control who goes on their land and who doesn't go.
South Africa has celebrated 17 years into democracy, but it is clear that more needs to be done in reaching out to farming communities, especially in preaching the gospel of democracy to farm owners and their employees. With the Northwest being notorious for race-related attacks in farming communities and farm matters, it is yet to be seen whether farm workers will be afforded the opportunity to determine their future by voting as advocated by stakeholders. Sello Tatai, SABC News, Mahikeng.
Coming up after the break, Linburg, the little Karoo village which was virtually wiped off the face of the earth by a raging buffalo river 30 years ago. Revisited. Stay tuned.
Big deals during Game's birthday.
Have your game leaflet and a phone ready, as it is your last chance to win another 20,000 Rand game gift card.
Stay out of the dark with this Ryobi 2.5 kVA generator for only $1699.
Stay cool with the KIC 346-litre metallic silver bottom freezer fridge for only $2899.
Feel like you're in the movies with this 5.1 Samsung home theater system for only $899.
Catch those crazy expressions with this Samsung ES28 digital camera bundle for only $699.99.
Got your leaflet and a phone ready? It's time for you to win big. What's the total wattage of the Samsung 5.1 home theater system? SMS your answer to 33161 or enter online at game.co.za.
Hurry, SMS lines close in 1 hour.
Thanks for joining us in celebrating Game's birthday with these big deals.
Check out your game leaflet for more fantastic deals every week. Goodbye.
Autograph. I'll get it.
There's nothing impossible if you have a hero inside. Now there's a hero inside new Omo Multi-Active. Its max clean particles remove tough dried in stains in one swift step. No more scrubbing and rubbing with bars.
You're my hero.
Omo. Dirt is good.
Good evening and welcome back. You're watching a special pre-election program right here on SABC2, coming to you live from our studios in Johannesburg. Now, 30 years ago, on the 25th of January 1981, a little Karoo village was virtually wiped off the face of the earth by a raging buffalo river.
Today, the Linburg municipality is the smallest in the country, but it forms part of the fourth largest district council, that of Central Karoo. It's also one of only 11 municipal areas that ended up with a three-way split in the 2006 local elections. The Linburg Gemeenskapspartij, the DA and the ANC had to share the spoils. Mariska Botha filed this report for us.
Linburg is die deurpos na die Sentraal Karoo as mens die pad van die Kaap af vat. Die dorp was in vele opsigte nooit weer dieselfde na die groot vloed nie. 103 mense het hulle lewens verloor en 72 is nooit gevind nie. Die wonde lê nog diep.
Toe ek daar vanaf kom, toe loop die water hier in die voorstraat af op die tennisbaan. Toe loop hy al daar. Toe sien ek, toe is dit een net see wat ek sien. Tot die water hier omgebreek het, en toe hier ombreek, toe sak die water. En toe die water sak, toe sê hy, toe sien jy net ontploffers, soos die huise in mekaar val. En die mense roep, wat kan jy kan niks doen nie.
Jan de Koker was 44 jaar oud toe die grootwater gekom het. Dit was die brug wat die water laat opdam, terugtrek en toe met groot krag laat deurbreek het. Meneer de Koker is een van vele helde wat probeer het om mense te red. Hy kon 20 mense bymekaar kry met die werk se bakkie. Maar hy onthou ook die wat op dakke vasgekeer was wat nie bereik kon word nie. Boetie Smith bedryf 'n slaghuis op die dorp. Sy herinnering is een van die mag van water.
Als die water een kar oplucht, een motorkar op, ongeacht zijn grootte, en hij drijft hem op het water, en hij loopt met hem, als die water sterk. En, maar hier is het zo, top in de keel, van vreesheid.
Langs die dorp Buffels rivierbedding af is die Vloedmuseum. 'n Stil getuie van die Linburgers se oorlewingskrag.
En dan het jy ook, as jy daar deur is, het jy die getuienis om vir ander mense te sê, jy kan opstaan, jy kan, soos die Phoenix uit die as uit herrys en weer iets maak van jou lewe.
Die dorpie is uiteindelik weer op die been gebring met behulp van die regering en skenkings van oor die hele land.
Ons dorp is verander. Daar bleek nou beter as wat hy van tevore gelyk het. So daar is nie enigiets waaroor ons kan baie sê, ja, maar dit moet nog so gewees het, of dit moet daar so gewees het, of kan hulle nie so gewerk het nie.
Maar Linburg kry swaar. 66% van die net meer as 2000 huishoudings is armoedig. Werksgeleenthede word al skaarser en werkloosheid is op pad na 20%. Baie van die skaapplase in die omgewing het wildplase geword, met die gevolglike verlies aan werksgeleenthede. Sakeondernemings toon 'n negatiewe groeikoers, omdat moderne sakevaardighede uiters skaars is. Daar is ook geen opleiding in tegniese en entrepreneursvaardighede in die hele distrik nie. En banke is nie genee om lenings te verskaf vir die skep van klein sake nie.
Jy sien eintlik veel hoop in Linburg.
Hoekom sê jy so?
Want die jong mense gaan agteruit. Dwelms, dak, misbruik.
Wel, ek dink is baie stil. Jy sien baie geleenthede vir jong mense, soos jy kan sien, so al die meeste jong mense gaan maar weg en so. Ja, dis nog maar net dit. Dit is baie stil dorpie, klein.
Maar daar is nog genoeg bittereinders om die dorp aan die gang te hou.
Hulle wil hier bly, die mense wat hier bly, want soos ek sê, die dorp is goed en dit is, as jy deur die strate gaan, dan kan jy sien, almal werk en almal is skoon, en ek kan nou nie sê hoe die werkomstandighede is in Bali, maar daar is, elke kry jy geleentheid om te werk.
Maar vir baie, soos Jan de Koker, is die ware Linburg vir altyd, saam met die Buffelsrivier, weg.
Daardie ou tyd was 'n wat ek hier gekom het in Lensburg. Ek het kans gesien om in Lensburg te bly, maar vandag ek sien nie kans vir Lensburg. Lensburg is nie die Lensburg wat ek gewees het.
Mariska Botha, SABC2 nuus, Lensburg.
Well, in our program series so far, we've broadcast profiles from a local elections perspective of most of South Africa's provinces. In tonight's episode, we look at the northernmost province. Gaugelo Mogologege compiled this report for our program.
Limpopo is a vast province with interesting locations such as Mabungwe as well as the Kruger National Park. The province is also home to the historically important rainmaking Balobedu community found at Mojadji's Kloof. The SABC Church also has its headquarters close to the provincial capital, Polokwane. This and other historic sites are the tourism backbone of the province. Official statistics indicate access to water at 84% and sanitation at close to 60%. These figures may not be entirely accurate since they include taps that have been installed but remain dry. The electricity backlog is put at 18% and a further 12,000 households are expected to be electrified this year. The province has managed to repair badly built RDP houses and consistently spent its allocated housing budget, building an average of 19,000 houses each year. Several government officials and councillors have been arrested for allegedly selling RDP houses, and a plan is underway to try and get the rightful beneficiaries into their houses. Premier Kasal Matale has called on incoming councillors not to act as if they are doing communities a favor by delivering services.
There are instances where you find councillors giving houses, for instance, to people who do not necessarily deserve. It's either their relatives or their friends, or handling issues of the public funds in such a manner as if it were their own resources. But it's not a general thing that's happening in the province. There are instances where you find councillors having behaved in that manner, and some of them have been arrested. As we speak, they are appearing before the courts of law. But we are saying to those who are going to come in, let them focus on delivering services to their people and understand that they are there to serve.
All the municipalities in the province are under ANC control. This resulted in ANC infighting, which led to destabilizing municipalities because of constant change of leadership. The line between the party and the state has also become diluted as a result of this dominance. But to which extent can this ANC infighting cause instability going forward? Political analyst Elvis Masoa says party infighting and domination by a single party hampers service delivery. He blames opposition parties for their poor performance at the polls because they always react to the ANC.
We have got a problem with opposition parties in the country because they fail to provide alternative programs of actions. They spend most of their time criticizing the ruling party and government, but without providing citizens with an alternative program of action. Because citizens need an alternative, especially when they are encountering challenges. They don't need shoutings and hecklings that are directed to the ruling party. That's a problem with our opposition parties. They need to provide alternatives rather than criticizing on a daily basis what the ruling party is doing.
While accepting that its size make it prone to internal squabbles, Premier Matale denied that municipalities were being destabilized by party infighting. The ruling party is not facing any real threat from outside in the coming elections. The DA is present in the province, but is not a threat to the ANC. It's only at Mutse where the party is being challenged by the newly formed Mpumalanga Party, which was formed by former ANC members who are determined to have the area reincorporated into Mpumalanga. I'm Kawalo Magolewa, SABC News in Polokwane.
Our popular live debate series hosted by Vuyo Mvoko continues on Sunday night at 6:30 on SABC1. And it's the big one on Sunday night. With only days away, leaders of the top 4 political parties will be taking each other on. We've got the ANC's Gwede Mantashe. He has confirmed his participation, as have the DA and COPE leaders. We're talking about Helen Zille and Musiwe Lokota. IFP leader Mangosuthu Buthelezi has campaigning duties on Sunday, but he party may just be able to return in time to also take part. So you'll have to tune in to find out. And while the party leaders will be gunning for each other in a last-ditch effort to appeal to voters, we've asked some of our viewers if they felt the parties had done enough to secure their votes.
Sebeyenzile into bana bazame ukuzibonakalisa ngamaxesha onke bona mna ndiyazazi banzawuvotele.
They've done much for convince our votele. But I vote, but you can see little dustbin mola, and then little bottle gets out the bottle vote. But unfortunately nobody delivered nothing.
That's the only time they try to convince people, is whenever they put the posters on. The rest of the time they're doing nothing.
Yeah,
what about kushuma ngamanda uphirisa uthomani woshuma ngamanda nasuzunyizo chenchawo ngamanda usikazwini.
Ba bang ba re convince e seng haholo a ka le hore ba re convince hore re ka vota ho ya kwa ka motho re yanong yena o convince ha kana kang hore kana a iketsa hore ai o vota.
Because ba busy ba ya khankasa ba ya encourage.
Well, after the break, the Cape Party tells us what they have in mind and when they win the elections. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
A long time ago, I started using Robertson's herbs and spices to season chicken. I'd combine chicken spice and rosemary with lemon juice and spread the mixture under the skin so the flavors cook right through. Things have changed over the years, but not the way I cook chicken. Robertson's, what's your combination?
SMS chicken to 33729 to receive this tip. Tonight on 7 Alarm.
Skaam jou om vir nurse vleipraatjies te val.
Appelstronkie, hoe kan ek my medemens...
Waag dit om vir die verkiesing te staan terwyl ek weg is.
7 Alarm. Tonight, 6:30.
All right, we're back with more election news for you. The Cape Party is one of the smaller parties contesting the local elections.
Now here's party leader Jack Miller in just under 60 seconds telling you why you should vote for him.
What the Cape Party is calling for is for the return to independence of the Cape, to declare the Cape an independent country. The reason for this is that South Africa, as we understand it, is essentially a flawed union. Since 1910, when we were forced into the Union, through to 1948, when the apartheid government took over, through to 1994, we were promised a dream of a rainbow nation, where all people would be equal and not judged on their skin color. We found over the past 17 years that this has been anything but the case. What the Cape Party is saying is that here in the Cape, if we get a majority vote, we will declare the Cape an independent country. In the Cape Republic, we will once and for all be able to get rid of these dictatorial, oppressive policies and have a rainbow nation in which everyone is equal in the most beautiful place in the world, here in the Cape.
A lot of Cape Townians like that one now, don't they? And now for the insert that you've been waiting for. Music and dance have become a huge part of electioneering in South Africa, especially over the past couple of months.
You can say that again. Various political parties have branded their own style and rhythm to lure the voters. Abra Babia takes a tongue-in-cheek look at the biggest shows in town. Take a look.
Politicking the old school way. Former President P.W. Botha urging support for national party policies. Those were the days of stern authority and feet firmly on the ground. But the country's first democratically elected president, Nelson Mandela, parachuted onto the scene with his dancing shoes. And Diva Jive was born. Today, every political party rally calls on the power of song and dance to inspire supporters. It ranges from old popular struggle tunes to this. But according to those in the know, there's a subtle method to all this madness.
Singing for change has always been an important part of South African history during the struggle, and we continue that tradition now. to see lots and lots of people standing around and singing one song in unison can be quite a moving experience. And also it's fun and gets the crowd going.
Reddy says the music does not only affect the crowds. It doesn't matter how tired her boss Helen Zille may be during a campaign. When the DA leader hears the music, her mood lifts instantly, and so do her feet. Stephen Smith of the ANC is part of the team who launched the party's CD. He says it unifies South Africans. The CD has special messages from various personalities encouraging people to vote.
There's actually an interesting story behind this one, and this is what Cameron Dugmore mentioned to us about this one. He says every time the ANC has gone on an election campaign and they used music, they used a CD, produced some music, they would actually win it, the elections.
While the ANC and DA are not the only parties buying into these electioneering tactics, they're definitely leading the pack. The leaders of both the ruling party and the official opposition can whip up a crowd with their performance, and they'll go all the way to win over the masses, even participate in a dance competition. As much as our nation adore music, not all of us were born to dance on stage. Just finding the rhythm of a struggle song proves to be a challenge to certain ministers. The jury's still out on whose moves managed to score a vote and who merely scared the children. Meanwhile, the political elites singing and dancing for an election supper are at least providing for delightful dinner conversation. Abra Barbia, SABC News, Cape Town.
That was fantastic. So listen, okay, so if you had to, we're not talking politics now, let's talk dancing. Who would you vote for? The president?
I'd vote for
Or was that just a dumb question?
Ms. Zille takes it for me.
You'd vote for Helen Zille for a better dancer?
She takes it for me.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, but the president takes this one from me. Jay-Z, he's
They don't call him Jay-Z for nothing.
Oh, it's true. Anyway, this is the end, really, of our Johannesburg-based pre-election show. On Monday, we'll be coming to you live from the IEC Centre in Pretoria, Election Week.
In the meantime, we want to thank all of you for following us throughout this couple of weeks. Thanks for your support. It has been one of the most watched programs ever right here on the SABC News. And from me, Tabi Sisutole, good night.
Absolutely.
And we'll catch you again, I think.
Take care. We'll see you next week. Same spot, different set though. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.